Chapter 14 The importance of arm length in hitting a nail on the head. The hunting team stopped at the entrance to the tribe enclosure. Their formation changed, and the team that was at the forefront divided into a passage. The chief who was standing at the forefront of the square waved his hand, and the tribal slaves and some fighters who were already prepared for them immediately ran into the gap. The warriors were responsible for the supervision, and the slaves were responsible for picking up the pieces of meat that had been stored and had been initially marinated into the shed on the side of the square. Yan Mo found that it was next to the straw shed he had been waiting for last time. It looked like a temporary new construction. But why would they want to build a straw shed to handle and place the dead prey and cured meat? Yan Mo looked up at the sky and looked at the vulture and flying birds that followed the hunting team and flew over the sky. Now he wondered if this was the reason. The chief raised his hands again. This time a group of slaves ran into the gap of the team, from which they drove out or caught the prey that was still alive and not hurt, and rushed them down a slope into a large pit under the square. After all the prey entered, the slaves pushed a boulder beside the slope to block the only gap. That is big pit. The last time Yan Mo was put in the shed because he didn't know and the angle of view is wrong, he did not see it. There is still a part of the prey left in the team. Most of these prey are heavier and seem to be more threatening. Yan Mo guessed that the prey that was driven into the big pit is the kind that can eat grass, otherwise it would not be put together with the other. The remaining prey in there is a carnivore. Yan Mo doesn't know how these prey will be put in. Is it in the straw shed he had been put for last time? Let's not say if you can close it. Can you put it in there first? Yan Mo looked at the middle of the returning soldiers and a huge, ugly, dying behemoth was there, and Yan Mo feels that his worldview has been subverted. This giant beast has a long, curved and scary long horn, and it has 5 tails. Oh, they even hunted an adult beast, great. Yuan Shan sighed. This harvest is really good. Yuan Diao also said. It's about to start. There is a hint of excitement from Yuan Shan's voice. What are they starting? Yan Mo guessed, maybe celebrate? A large piece of open space was cleared in the center of the square. The slaves brought in a large pile of firewood and weeds. At the same time, they cleaned out the more than 20 commonly used fire pits, refilled the firewood from the shelves. The prey was disposed of in batches, leaving only a dozen wounded beasts surrounded by the middle. The expressions of the quiet Yuan tribe hunting team warriors changed from quiet and became excited and expectant. The formation of the hunting team changed again. This time all the warriors faced the middle beast and formed a circle. The chief, who was in the prime of his years, also carried his own spear into the ring. Yan Mo looked at Cao Ting. Cao Ting whispered blushingly and explained to him, the bloody ceremony is going to be held. Every time the hunting team returns, there will be such a ceremony. The top ones are the third-tier fighters and the best warriors in this hunting party. The other third-tier fighters are at the outermost periphery. The third-tier fighters. Their skills are not qualified to participate in this type of hunting. This is the biggest hunting before the winter. After this hunting, winter is coming. 1. Whenever some says winter is coming, you should know shit is about to get hella cold for Evarioni. Yan Mo didn't understand why Cao Ting blushed first. When it comes to winter, Yan Mo face becomes very ugly. He still doesn't know how cold winter gets here. He still tried to remember the winter in the past. He even ignored the memory of this body. Suddenly, the muffled sound of thunder burst into everyone's ears. Hey! 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 The land seemed to be shaking. Yan Mo jerked his head up and saw about 1,000 hunting warriors smashing their legs into the ground with their spears in their hands, and a rhythmic low-pitched yell came from their mouth. The encirclement shrunk a little bit, and the beast wrapped inside felt a huge threat, but the beast's serious injuries prevented it from rebelling, and it could only make threatening growling roar and make a little attack. The encirclement circle kept getting smaller and smaller. Finally, the chief raised his spear and the first one pierced the neck of the greatest beast. Yan Mo heard a scream worth shattering a stone. The spear was pulled out and the bright red blood followed. The chieftain did not evade the spewing and was sprayed with blood from the beast. Ao ao ao. Yuan tribes of the tribes made a roar. All the warriors raised their spears and made a loud noise. Most of the vultures in the sky were scared away, and some who refused to leave also flew farther and higher. Yan Mo wanted to keep calm in this kind of excitement. He could raise his arms like Cao Ting and Wen Shang, but he doesn't follow suit. The chieftain moved from there and a tall warrior with abnormal body muscles stepped forward, pulling out the stone knife and aiming at the neck of the beast. The beast made a last scream and a lot of blood was sprayed down. This blood is not wasted, and what they don't know is that it was delivered to the stone tank underneath it. It is De Renjeng. Cao Ting tried and failed to conceal her excitement. He the most powerful tribal chief De Ren warrior. A lot of people say he is the most promising third-tier warrior in the past 2 years who advanced to 4th tier. And the spoken about man of the same name went to the beast's neck and sucked last bit of its blood, and then his bloody face was turned to the crowd. They're going to start. Cao Ting's face was very bright red. 1. Wow, tone it down girl, we can smell your vajay oscillating. What is there to start? This time, Yan Mo didn't need to ask again, because he had already seen that the Daren who had drunk the blood of the beast crossed the priest and the elders, grabbed a woman from the crowd, dragged her to the side, and pressed her down. The crowd cheered again, and it seems that such behavior is not only justified but also encouraged. That is Daren de Shan. Cao Ting whispered. The woman also screamed, but it was not like she was pain. There were 2 warriors who passed the blood of the beasts. After drinking a bit of animal blood they rushed to the crowd. After fatigue, nervousness, and stimulating hunting, most of the fighters are eager to vent their sexual frustrations so that they can be sure that they have truly survived, and truly returned to the tribe and returned to their loved ones. After venting, they can get a safe and comfortable rest. Now it is the last part carnival of the hunting season. Yuan Zhan was standing in the innermost quarter. He is one of the few third-tier fighters who can stand in the inner circumference. After all the third-tier fighters have finished drinking the blood of the beast, he and the other 4 third-tier fighters came forward, and there were not many live beasts left in the field. After the bigger beast, there were 2 larger. The more fierce beast was killed. Yuan Zhan had with him a bird, which was like a bird and a beast. When it cried it was like a baby crying. It had a black spot on the back, a split-headed and sharp horn, and it can fly for a short time and not easy to catch. This weird bird eagle is the one who someone won alone. This is not easy for the third-tier fighters to get a kill like this. If he wants to kill the eagle and drink its blood, no one has any objection, except one. A stone knife quickly stroked the neck of the eagle. A spear was flying fast. Yuan Zhan looked coldly at Yuan Bing with him and pushed him. This is mine, go away. De Zhan, do you still want to fight now? Yuan Bing deliberately kicked to Yuan Zhan's left leg. You wanna be see if I can. Yuan Zhan raised his left leg and did the same. Yuan Zhan kick made Yuan Bing go back 2 steps. Yuan Bing turned to Yuan Zhan's left leg. He clearly saw Yuan Zhan secretly favoring his left leg last night. He was thinking that his old injury had recurred. Yuan Zhan lifted his hand and waved a spear to Yuan Bing's face, leaving a mark. Yuan Bing's face got angrier, violent, and he rushed up and he wanted to fight with Yuan Zhan. He is a third-tier fighter, and he was actually injured by Yuan Zhan, a second-tier fighter. This is an insult to him and a direct challenge. Yuan Zhan grinned and matched the knife and tattoo on his face. His expression was really fierce. In those eyes, there was a fierce killing. Yuan Bing was pulled back by 2 third-tier fighters. One of them shouted in his ear, "You calm down. Every time you return from a hunting party, you will go crazy for a few days. Look at his eyes. Don't think that because you are a third-tier fighter, he would not dare to kill you. Or are you going to kill him?" Another person also called, "What do you want him to do? That things is what Yuan Zhan hunted alone. If you want one, you also go hunting for one your fucking self. If you're so motherfucking strong, go and fuck your slave." 1. I have no idea how is someone's strength related to fucking their slaves. Yuan Bing was dragged to the other place by the two men. Yuan Zhan looked straight at Yuan Bing, silently slammed the spear on the ground, walked in front of the eagle who reared back, stepped on its body, grabbed its neck, and no matter how terrible it was, Zhan mouth bit down, forcefully torn a large hole in the eagle's neck. Yuan Bing eyes contracted, and his mouth snorted, and he broke away from the two third-tier fighters. In fact, he had already drunk the blood of the beast. He just wanted to find Yuan Zhan. He and Yuan Zhan have always been competitors. When he was promoted to the third level, and Yuan Zhan had to stay at second tier because of a serious injury, he felt that he had exceeded the other party, but in fact, the damn guy has not learned to pay due respect to him until now. Hey! He spit out the flesh. Yuan Zhan bit the neck of the eagle, sipping his blood in a big mouth, until it was enough. He gave it to another third-tier warrior to bleed the eagle. Wiping the lips, the overflowing blood of the beast was half-faced by him. Yuan Zhan pulled out his spear and strode inside the tribe land. He looked calm on the surface, but his eyes were betrayed his anxiousness and his footsteps were fast and heavy. He had to go back to his tent. He had a slave. He doesn't have to endure it anymore. Yan Mo saw Yuan Zhan. Now the squares was in chaos. Influenced by the maddening warriors, the whole square is like entering a nightclub. There are groups of people everywhere fucking, and the two are relatively normal. It is not uncommon for threesomes and 4 people in the mix. Yan Mo felt threatened subconsciously. He wanted to leave the square, but Cao Ting and Wen Shang around him were dragged aside by their respective owners. He too wants to help him to leave, but after seeing Yuan Zhan, she was happy to wave and shout, "Da Zhan, we are here." Yan Mo was pissed off. I really want to get something to block this woman's mouth. Yuan Zhan turned around and saw the boy who was leaning against he too. Yan Mo was looked at by the eyes that were small as a chrysanthemum. This is definitely not an adjective. Yuan Zhan was walking faster and faster, and Yan Mo was not feeling well. He wants to disregard the status quo of pretending to be unhealed. He pushes away he too and escapes, but when he turns around and flees, he discovers something abnormal. His gaze fell on Yuan Zhan's left leg. This person is so hesitant, and Yan Mo missed the best time to escape. In fact, he tried to fled, but he did not escape. Once he got there, Yuan Zhan grabbed Yan Mo and immediately took him to the bonfire camp in the square. Before she left, she also yelled at Yuan Zhan, "I am happy to remember to bring my man out together with Yuan Shan. Eat meat. Don't forget." When Yan Mo was laid down, he had caught a gold needle in his hand. But when he was about to prepare for it, Yuan Shan actually caught up to the with Wen Shang and got sitting next to him. "Let's go. I was looking for you." This moment, Yan Mo was my heart. There are countless swear words. The starring curse of staring at him, panting and holding his own slaves, is so unsuitable for language expression. Yuan Zhan didn't intend to let go of the boy. He was still worried that the boy's injury had not healed well, or the boy simply became more serious. He could only kill him, and that was making him anxious. Now he saw that the boy has recovered and can go to the square to see the fun. How could he possibly let him go? Coupled with the stimulation of the surrounding environment, Da Shan and Wen Shang did not hide the madness, and Da Shan's sneak peek at the burning eyes on his little slave's face was a serious stimulus to him. In order to show his own ownership on Yan Mo, but also to vent his anxious, Yuan Zhan turned the teenager on the ground, pulled up his leather skirt, spit saliva in the palm of his hand, and fucked him. Yan Mo pinched his hand with the golden needle. He closed his mouth and refused to scream. Yuan Shan made a loud screaming beside him. The sweat of the man who was crouching on top of him rolled down on him. The entire square is filled with strange hot air. Before he actually had a chance to bully his hairy boy, but he found that there is almost no concept of chastity here. Looking at the expression on Yuan Shan, the man looked like he was waiting for Yuan Zhan to finish on him, then Yuan Shan can definitely drag the disengaged Yuan Zhan from him on one side, change himself to fucking Yan Mo. 1. Yuug love-hate thing. Even if he puts Da Shan down, what about other people? There are not many companions and slave for the warriors here. These people can share a slave with a good brother. Once he has no protection from his master and his friend, his ass is no better than the tribal common slaves. Yan Mo, this is no longer the civilized society you have been waiting for. It is another world, barbaric, rude, direct. You want to live in this world, you want to give you and the children you are not here to make a good living environment, you must become stronger, you must learn to be patient. Patience, isn't this the skill you have learned so far? If nothing can be tolerated, there is nothing at all. In the end, Yan Mo was distracted. Maybe I need to do a suture afterwards, but what if my hand is not long enough? The author has something to say about the degree of civilization in the story. This is a world of varying degrees of civilization, like our present world, with very developed regions and primitive tribes. The alien world is about 5 times larger than the Earth. Because some business exchanges, such as the exchange of goods between tribes, will exchange some information, some primitive tribes will also have some conceptual words about more developed regions.